Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to another episode of Competitive Corner. Today we're going to be spotlighting Cacturne, as you can very well see, and let's get right into it. So Cacturne is kind of an average Pokemon. You've got 70 base HP, 115 attack, 60 defense, 115 special attack, 60 special defense, and 55 speed. So all in all, you know, the defensive stats are a little below average, not very good. The offensive stats are about average. They're not amazing, but they're not terrible, and they're definitely workable. He's also a grass dark typing who gets water absorb, which makes you immune to water type attacks, and you do get HP back for that. And sand veil, which means you can't be hit by sandstorm, and you gain one stage of evasion behind sandstorm. So overall, grass dark is not a great typing. It's not horrendous. It's just, look at those weaknesses. You've got fighting, flying, poison, bug, fire, ice, and fairy. And speaking from just a pure VGC standpoint, almost every single one of those types are used prominently. You know, with the exception of poison and bug, you'll pretty much see at least one of the other, at least a fighting, a flying, a fire, ice, and fairy type move on your opponent's team. So Cacturne's a pretty hard Pokemon to work into your team. However, he does get an immunity to Psychic, a resistance to Ground, Ghost, Water, Grass, Electric, and Dark. Again, those are all really prominent types, so it's kind of a double-edged sword. Now that resistance to water actually becomes an immunity when you run water absorb, so you do get two immunities. Psychic is not the best of immunities, but it's still an immunity nonetheless, and it's not a terrible thing. Typing aside, Cacturne does have quite a lot of options. As you can see, he can go both physical and special. So let's get right into just the special set for Cacturne. I'm going to play a best 2 out of 3 against Tidvicious. We had this battle uploaded a couple of days ago, and it just happens to have Cacturne in it, so I'll just give you a little bit of a demonstration of what Cacturne can do. So for the special attacking set, I'm running Quiet with 252 HP, 252 special attack, and 4 special defense. The 4 doesn't really matter where you go with it. It can go defense, it can go in special defense, it's really up to you. The reason we're running Snow Speed and in Trick Room is I highly suggest Cacturne in Trick Room because really it doesn't have too much in the way of boosting its speed. Yeah, you can go for Choice Scarf, but base 55 speed isn't really good for Trick Room. I mean for Choice Scarf, you know, it allows speed a few things, yeah, but it's not, you know, very useful. You're better off like Choice Scarfing like a Landers or something like that. So the moves are going to be Spiky Shield, Energy Ball, Dark Pulse, and Focus Blast. Now, that's pretty much all he gets in terms of special attacks. Spiky Shield is new this gen. It is, I think, an egg move, and it's significantly better than Protect, mainly because Protect just protects you, and because it's just protecting you, that's all it does. But Spiky Shield does the same exact thing that Protect does, but it also, if they hit you with a physical move, they will take some damage akin to Rocky Helmet or Iron Barbs. I think it's about the same as Rocky Helmet, but just note that that is something that's really useful, especially since you're going to want to protect to dodge a Fake Out. This would be really nice to punish them for that Fake Out. So the ability is going to be Water Absorb. Honestly, Sand Veil is really the lesser of the good abilities. Water Absorb gives you a secondary immunity, and water is pretty prominent in VGC, so just do yourself a favor, go for the Water Absorb. I honestly counted out, excuse me, voice is a little crumbling right there. I looked at it, and even if you ran Cacturne with Sand Veil and Bright Powder and Double Team inside of a sand, it's really not worth it. I mean, it's just like a turn of setup. If you're running it with the Tyranitar, you know, you're really weak to fighting now, you're really weak to bug, you know, that kind of stuff. So it's one of those things that I don't think will work, so I'm just not going to really focus on it for this. But so getting back to the special attacking set, Your items are a choice between Life Orb and Focus Sash. Honestly, I didn't really see very much else that Cacturne can run. Focus Sash is really good because it has absolutely no defenses. It's paper thin. So Focus Sash is really nice, and that works with some of the highlights here. So Grass Knot is actually going to be one of your better options for heavier foes such as like Suicune, and you'll see the calc below. So Grass Knot's an option. It also gets Gig Drain, but Gig Drain's only base 75, and you're only working with 115 special attack. So honestly, even though you do get that HP back, you're not going to be doing enough to really sustain yourself anyway. So I'd say go for Energy Ball or Grass Knot, depending on who your team is having the bigger trouble against. Are you having more trouble against Rotom Wash, then go Energy Ball. If you're having more trouble against a Suicune, go Grass Knot. And then what's really cool about Cacturne is he actually gets Nasty Plot, which is where Focus Sash can come into handy. Come into handy? I don't think that makes sense, but come in handy. Because it's a +2. 1 turn +2. It's really nice if you run it against a support with a support Pokemon that has like Wide Guard, because Heat Wave's pretty common, or Quick Guard because Brave Bird will decimate you. You can get up a Nasty Plot and then just kind of sweep from there, and then the Focus Sash is your protection. If anything, I'd get rid of Energy Ball because Dark Fighting has probably the best coverage in the game. Not the best, it's one of the best. It doesn't hit Fairy types, which is a little unfortunate, but it does cover pretty much every single thing else, so that's something to consider. Another thing that I like running on Cacturne is Destiny Bond, especially with Focus Sash, because when they hit you, it's like you put them in a position. They hit you with all the way down to your Sash, you have Destiny Bond. Very tempting to kill you, but the next turn, since if you didn't have Trick Room up or anything like that, they kind of have to attack you or just attack your partner, but it puts you in a position where you're now in the pretty much in the command. You can go for Destiny Bond again if you got Trick Room up that turn. This way, if they think, okay, well, he's going to attack, so I might as well attack him, you can take someone down with you. It's really nice, and his final option's Hidden Power. Again, not really powerful, it's only base 60 this gen, so it's not going to be doing too much, and like I said, Dark Pulse and Focus Blast does have almost perfect coverage outside of Fairy types, with Energy Ball actually fixing that for you, because I don't think there's any, outside of Mawile and Klefki, nothing can resist that combination. So, I mean, if you need a Hidden Power Fire, sure, go ahead. Focus Blast might be a little bit better for you, I mean, unless you're going against the Scizor. But that's something to consider. So, some calcs for this, when you're using an Energy Ball against 252 HP, 52 Special Defense Suicune, you do around a maximum of 76%. That's actually really nice. I think I did a typo. It should not say 164. I think that's what it says. It's kind of hard to see from my angle, but it's supposed to be 64% to 76%. Grass Knot does do more. It doesn't make it into a one-hit KO, so that's something to consider, because Energy Ball, I think, is just overall, on average, a little bit stronger. So that's something to really consider there. And then for Aegislash and Shield form with 252 HP, your Dark Pulse will do about a minimum of 58%. So even though he's only rocking about a 115 special attack, he still does have some power to him. And can get some good KOs, and especially if you're running Focus Sash. These calcs, I believe, were done with Life Orb. If you're running Focus Sash, you're still gonna get those 2-hit KOs, but you'll guarantee that you can stay in for the 2-hit KOs. So that's something to really consider. So moving on, we're gonna look at the physical attack in Cacturne. Basically the exact same spread, except instead of 252 in special attack, we've got 252 in attack, and we've got a Brave Nature for that slow thing. What's cool about physical is he actually gets a lot more options. So we're just gonna stick with the Grass Fighting Dark combination, because I think that's probably the best you can get out of Cacturne. So Spiky Shield, Seed Bomb, Sucker Punch, and Low Kick. He gets Needle Arm, which I think has a higher chance to crit, but again, you know, not really super useful. And I don't think he gets Power Whip, so Seed Bomb really is your best choice there. He gets Sucker Punch, which is very nice, so even though you're slow, you do have priority, and Stab Sucker Punch is very nice. And you get a few options in terms of fighting type moves, I went with low kick because of the current format and the meta, and how low kick actually hits Kangaskhan fairly hard. Not crazy hard, but fairly hard. And doesn't have any, you know, negative consequences for you. So some options, because the rest of the set is pretty much the exact same as special. You've got Swords Dance. So what's really cool about Cacturne is he has a +2 boosting move for both stats. So that's something really awesome. So you really can go whatever you want with Cacturne. So you get Swords Dance. I put Destiny Bond again because I really do like Destiny Bond on Cacturne. I think Destiny Bond's a very good kind of checkmate position, because Destiny Bond at a 0-0 position, you actually win. So it's a really nice checkmate. Superpower is another option. It's a lot stronger than low kick, so remember that. But you lose your attack and your defense, so it's kind of like one of those things where, like, you don't really mind losing your defense, especially if you have Focus Sash. It's not that big of a deal. But losing your attack, it's not great, and you're gonna have to switch out. But what's not too bad is that because you can come in back in on a water type move, gain some HP back. If I understand it correctly, if you haven't broken down to your sash yet, and you recover that HP back, it should still work. Don't quote me on that. I've never had that happen before, so I have no idea. But it seems like it should work. Also, he gets Poison Jab, which seems like an odd choice. But right now, you know, you don't have too much against bulky grass types. So Poison Jab can be pretty good. It also covers fairies if you're having issues with that. And Drain Punch is just another option for health regen. Works really well with Life Orb. You lose 10%, you gain that HP back. It's pretty nice. So some real quick calcs against Aegis/Shield. You do, again, about 58 to 69%. I just want to check. I think that's about the exact same. Yeah, it's the exact same as Dark Pulse. I mean, it makes sense because he has the exact same base attacks, and they're both the same base power. It does make sense. So obviously it's going to do the same. So that's kind of nice. And then against a Mega Kangaskhan with 252 HP, 54 to 65% with low kick. The only issue about Kangaskhan, now don't take that calc with a grain of salt. You're not going to survive anything from a Kangaskhan. Power Up Punch, I don't know if it can one-hit KO you, but it doesn't matter. You shouldn't be staying on a Kangaskhan. The most you should stay in is to get that spiky shield to get that that very nice chip off. But be real here, you're not, even with Focus Sash, you're not going to be able to stay in on a Kangaskhan. If you got Trick Room up and you have nothing to lose, go for that low kick, because Sucker Punch will certainly not take you out. So that's something that you should look into, potentially. But just be wary around Kangaskhan, so take that with a grain of salt. So finally, you know, honestly, Cacturne can't really do very much. I looked into doing the possibility of like a sub Leech Seed kind of thing, but just the defenses don't work out. And I don't even want to Assault Vest the Cacturne, because I mean, yeah, it has some pretty useful resistances in like Electric and Ghost and Dark, and a lot of those are special attacking moves, but yeah, defensive didn't really seem to work too much. And then I realized he actually gets Counter, and Counter's really cool here. Counter is really, really cool. So what I went here for is Spiky Shield, Destiny Bond, Sucker Punch, Counter, Water Absorb, and Focus Sash. Focus Sash is actually pretty important because you want to survive these moves. Same EV spread as the physically attacking one, because, you know, sometimes you want to just get a Sucker Punch in or something, you know, really nice. So basically, a secondary move is Seed Bomb in case you don't want like Spiky Shield or Destiny Bond. I suggest sticking with Sucker Punch and Counter, because basically the strategy here is they hit you with a physical move, because you know it's going to be coming, right? They hit you with a physical move, you counter back, dealing double damage, and we'll get into how that works exactly in a second. Dealing double damage, basically doing so much damage, and then you follow it up with a really quick Sucker Punch to finish them off. So that's really nice. Or you can just straight up go for Destiny Bond if you're in Trick Room already, and then take them out that way. Although I do think, well, I mean, it depends on how it goes. If you go for Destiny Bond and then someone else attacks, like say you're going against a Mega Mawile, you won't outspeed unless they're running some speed. But like, say you know they're running some speed and you go for Destiny Bond and you didn't counter the Mega Mawile, well, now you got rid of a Mega Mawile. So I think this set works really well for Cacturne. I put Seed Bomb as an option, as I said, because, you know, sometimes you want the grass type. You really can't do very much against defensive ghosts here, you're pretty much stuck against them. Especially since, like, you know, like Kofagrigus or Dusclops aren't going to really be able to trigger counter for you. So, and even if they did, you can't touch them anyway, and you're not really going to be able to use Sucker Punch against them. So, Seed Bomb is a good option. Now, basically, counter deals 176 true damage if brought down to Focus Sash. What that means is regardless of resistances, regardless of everything but immunities, you have 177 HP at maximum HP. So that's why we've got the 252 here. When you brought down to Focus Sash, you only have one left, which means that the damage done to you was 176. What counter does is that it changes that. Alright, and I realize I made a mistake with this, because now that I'm looking at that, basically when you're hit with a physical move, let's just say for the sheer heck of it, Talonflame's Brave Bird, that's going to do 100% of the time, it's going to bring you down to Sash, and it's going to do 176 damage to you. What counter does is it reverses that damage and shoots it right back at the target, doubling it. So now you're sending basically a typeless attack back to your opponent that's doing 352 damage. So I made a mistake here, and I put in the one-hit KO section anything less than 70 base HP. You can KO a lot more than that. So just some common things that can one-hit KO you, bring you down to the Sash. Mega Salamence using Double Edge, Landorus Therian using U-Turn without any boosting items either, that's kind of scary. Talonflame with Brave Bird. All those three things can one-hit KO you with their stab, and guess what, guys? You one-hit KO them right back with counter. One-hit KO without a second thought in your mind. You just click counter and they're gone. They are gone. And that's just ridiculous. I mean, I don't know who else gets 132, I think I said, HP, or 352 or something like that, HP, and I'm not going to look that up right now. But basically, anything that has something like that, that uses physical moves, you can just KO right away with counter. And that's what's really good about Cacturne here. The reason for max HP and Focus Sash is because you want to do as much damage as you possibly can, and with his pitiful defenses, it's not like the HP is going to change too much. Plus, it will give you a little bit more survivability against, you know, some special attacks like a Thunderbolt. If you need to switch it on a Thunderbolt and break your Sash, you might as well. It's still useful. And then say your opponent's using Focus Sash on, let's just say, Talonflame. That's actually a really bad example. What physical Pokemon use it? Let's say a Weavile. Weavile tends to use Focus Sash. If they're using Focus Sash and you counter them, you bring them to their Focus Sash. Granted, they might have Ice Shard, but you have Sucker Punch if they don't. So I think it's a good set. I think it's something that can work really well. If you know the Pokemon has less than base 70 HP, you know for a fact that they're going to get KO'd. I need to look up more into what exactly Cacturne can one-hit KO with this set, but it's a very, very good set. It has its options. It's honestly my favorite so far because it's pretty unique. It's something that actually works. It's kind of gimmicky, but kind of works. And really puts your opponent in a rough situation because they're like, well, I mean, you could just kill me with Focus Sash. You could just kill me with counter. What am I going to do? It is a one-shot Pokemon, so at the same time, you know, Destiny Bond kind of does the same kind of thing. But at the same time, you never know. You never know. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And I hope to see you guys at the next episode. Peace.